Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope everything is fine with you and your families. Today I'm going to discuss about another important topic, that is about childhood intraocular malignancies. The most common intraocular malignancy of childhood is retinoblastoma, that is the malignant tumor of the retinal cell, and it consists of 3% of all childhood malignancies, and it occurs in 1 into 17,000 live births. So this is not very uncommon. The genetics is very important because the tumors are heritable or they can be non-heritable. The heritable tumor account for 40% of the cases, and there is usually one allele of RB1 gene, that is tumor suppressor gene, is already mutated in all the body cells. So if any further mutagenic event occurs due to any reasons, sometimes due to increased parental age, this leads to the malignant transformation of the cells. So these tumors, because they are heritable, they are usually bilateral and they are multifocals. They are associated with other non-ocular tumors or malignancies like pinealomas. The mutations are autosomal dominant, so the tumors, they are transmitted to the 40% of the offsprings because of incomplete penetrance, not 50%. The non-heritable tumor accounts for 60% of the cases. They are usually unilateral and they are not transmissible. They are usually present in second year of the life, and heritable tumor present during first year of the life. There is no predispositions to other non-ocular malignancies, and the risk in siblings and offspring is 1% because these tumors are non-heritable. Histology is also very important because some tumors are undifferentiated, and these tumors are associated with worse prognosis, and the differentiated tumors, they have got different histological patterns and they are associated with uh, better prognosis. See, this is the cross of the eye, and we can see this tumor arising from the retina, and here this is the section of the optic nerve, and you see the tumor infiltrating the optic nerve also. Presentation is, as I told you earlier, in 2 years of age. In heritable cases, usually presents during first year of age, and non-heritable cases during second years of age. Leukocoria. This is leukocoria, the cat eye reflex or the white pupillary reflex. Most of the presentation is with this picture, leukocoria. 60% of the cases present with this picture, and 20% of the cases presents with strabismus. See, this eye has got leukocoria also, and this eye is divergent also. Sometimes they do not have the leukocoria, but they will have just strabismus. And sometimes the patients present with secondary glaucoma with ophthalmos. See, this size of the cornea is enlarged, and this is hazy cornea. This is normal size, so this is the affected eye. Sometimes the presentation is there is a diffuse tumor involving the interior segment. See here, we can see the involvement of the iris, infiltration of the iris with the tumor cells, and this is a pseudo hypopyon. This is also causing inflammation into the involving the interior segment of the eye. Sometimes the tumor presents with the orbital inflammation. See this one, the orbit and the periocular structures, they are inflamed, and if the tumor involves the orbit, then there can be proptosis also. See, this eye is proptose also, and there is significant orbital involvement also, and there are signs of inflammation also. So this is the different types of presentation of retinoblastoma. not only the white pupillary reflex, these are some other ways of presentation of retinoblastoma. So this is something like known as masquerade syndrome. You cannot say this is orbital cellulitis. These two pictures are preseptal cellulitis. You have to see the patient into detail. Maybe this is not simple orbital cellulitis. So you need to do the CT scan in this patient to diagnose the patient, to diagnose this type of clinical presentation. And this tumor metastasized to regional lymph nodes, and if this is heritable tumor, so it is associated with pinealoblastoma, pinealomas. So this can give rise to the raised intracranial pressure. This is also known as trilateral retinoblastoma. And see, this is dilated lateral ventricles, and this is third ventricle also dilated. Sometimes we see these these patients on routine examination. Sometimes the mother brings their children to you for examination, and you pick up this tumor on routine examination. There are different type of growth pattern in by which this tumor spreads. They can be endophytic, in which the tumor grow into the vitreous cavity. See, this is also endophytic. The tumor grows into the vitreous cavity, and some of the tumors, they are exophytic. They grow behind the retinal surface, posterior to the retinal surface, and they cause the retinal detachment. And some, they have got the mixed pattern. They have got the endophytic feature also, and here you can see tumor behind the retinal surface, posterior to the retinal surface, causing retinal detachment. There can be diffuse infiltration of the retina also, and this tumor spreads to the regional lymph nodes and to the lungs, brain, and bones. This is ultrasonography of the eye showing retinoblastoma, showing calcification. This is calcification of the retinoblastoma, because this is tumor is associated with calcification. Here this is axial CT scan showing tumor, and this hyperdense lesions within this tumor is calcification. So this is bilateral tumor showing calcification. This is bone. This bone shows that this is a CT scan picture. What we see on examination, we have to do the distant direct ophthalmoscopy, and we have to see the red reflex. And if the patient, as I have told you earlier, had cat eye reflex or white pupillary reflex, in those cases we cannot see that red reflex, and we have to do this examine this patient under anesthesia. We do complete examination. We check for the intraocular pressure, and we do the anterior segment examination, and we do the dilated fundus examination. Interior segment examination is important because sometimes this tumor presents with interior segment inflammations with uveitis. So basically that is not uveitis, that is the infiltrating lesions involving the interior segment. What investigations we are going to do in these cases? That is, we have to do the systemic assessment to look for any metastasis, and we can do the genetic studies onto the tumor tissues and the blood samples of the patient and the relatives. We can do the ultrasonography to look for the tumor and for calcification associated with the tumor. We can do this CT scan I have shown you earlier. This is the CT scan showing tumor and associated with calcification, and we can do the MRI to look for the extent of the tumor or spread for the tumor to the optic nerve and for the brain. How can we treat this tumor? The different types of tumors are treated differently. The tumors not more than 3 millimeter in diameter and 2 millimeter in thickness can be treated with photocoagulation, cryotherapy, and chemotherapy. And if the tumor is of medium size, between 6 to 12 millimeter, we can treat these tumors by brachytherapy with primary chemotherapy or external beam radiation. The external beam radiation is usually not performed in cases of heritable tumors because this leads to formation of other malignancies also, or predispose the patients to the other malignancies also. And the treatment of large tumors, we have to do the chemotherapy, and we need to do the enucleation. We have to remove whole of the eye. Uh, if there is a large tumor and that has got extraocular extension, then after doing chemotherapy or enucleation, we have to continue adjuvant chemotherapy for a longer period of time, or we have to do the external beam radiation. Usually, this we do if we do enucleation of a tumor, or enucleation in cases of a large tumor which has got uh, extraocular extension. See here, this is this was the tumor, and with the treatment, this is now tumor is going to be regressed. See this one, this was the tumor size, and this is now going to be regressed with the treatment. We have to follow these patients after the treatment. We cannot send these patients home after doing the treatment. These patients needs long-term follow-up. After radiotherapy and chemotherapy, the tumor regresses, as I show you in the previous picture, because these patients, they can develop new tumors also, especially in patients who have got heritable retinoblastoma. So we need to follow these patients. We have to do the examination under general anesthesia after every 2 to 8 weeks till 3 years of age. And if we do not find anything, we have to do 6 monthly examination under general anesthesia by the age of 5 years, and then we have to examine the patient yearly for 10 years of age. Only then we can properly manage these cases of retinoblastoma, not just give the treatment. Usually here in our countries, the patients, they present late, so we rarely do this radiotherapy or thermotherapy or even chemotherapy, but we do enucleation of these patients because these patients presents late. But after doing enucleations, do not lose the patients, keep the follow up the patients according to this protocol. Only then you can properly manage the patients. Thank you so much.